Let's get ready to rumble!
That's right, Razzballers. We're back for the finals of our preseason Razzball Rumble. Tonight's bout pits two of our heavyweight analysts as they lay out arguments for players you are considering in your drafts right now. This one promises to rank up there with the greats, Ali Foreman, Tyson Holyfield, maybe even Chestnut Kobayashi. So grab yourself a cold beverage and a comfortable chair. The Rumble is ready to start. All right, welcome in, Razzballers. Tonight, I get the privilege to be your host, your moderator, your judge, your jury, and executioner for tonight's Rumble. We'll get the contestants in here in a minute, but a quick review of the format and the rules. Each of our contestants will get 2 minutes to argue the merits or demerits of two players. And whether their ADP projections, their favorite fast food restaurant, hair color, how they pimp their rides, it's all fair game. It doesn't matter. Then, if we're tied after 2 rounds, I'll have a bonus player to throw at them before we crown our champion. This should be a lot of fun. So let's meet our contestants. First, the upstart challenger. Hailing from deep in the Lone Star State, he comes into this bout after a grueling run through the prelims. First, dispensing of yours truly in a center ring slugfest that went his way in a questionable judge's decision. But hey, I'm not holding a grudge. Tip of the cap later, and he was off to his next bout, where he faced Styles in a match that saw Styles floating like a tank and stinging like a mound of fire ants. Something my man Jefferson knows a lot about there in South Texas. Nevertheless, Jefferson stayed light on his feet and navigated the obstacles like a true Olympic breaker to be here tonight vying for the title. Welcome, my friend. Are you ready for this epic bout?
I was born ready.
Awesome. Now to our champion. Hailing from the Pacific Northwest, he comes into this title bout having tactfully dispensed of his potential foes, myself and Styles, through questionable verdicts as debate judge in the previous bouts. Nevertheless, his lid and his follicle game are always on point. He's a lyrical professor, a master of rhyme, and most importantly, a true football savant. Welcome to the ring, Sky Guasco.
Yeah.
Sky, now that you're actually in the line of fire.
So good to be in the line of fire. I have to tell you, it is incredibly refreshing to not be hosting a show. Derek, you're doing an awesome job getting it going here, but I'm really excited to be in a challenger seat. And as I told Jeff 2 weeks ago, I just felt more competition from you, Derek, and from Matt. And I didn't want the boss involved, so we kicked Bob out right off the bat here. So I felt like I had my best chance against Jeff, but we'll see what happens tonight.
This should be a lot of fun. But before we get to the bout, we've got some breaking news. One, Brandon Ayuk has re-signed with the 49ers. What do you say about that? We've got Candlestick Park in the background. So, Scott, I think you're the perfect one to talk about this.
Yeah, sure do. Man, it's about damn time. Shout out to my girl Lizzo. Man, Brandon Ayuk. When this started getting talked about, I was like, there's no chance. There's no chance he leaves San Francisco. And then the summer went on, and I was like, he played with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State. I could see that. Washington picks up a little bit. I'm like, okay. Then Washington bails, and then Pittsburgh comes around. I'm like, Pittsburgh? What the hell? But then they get Russ and Fields, and I'm like, uh-oh, that's actually pretty nice. And him and Tomlin are starting to chat. I'm like, man, they could use a number one there with Deontay Johnson leaving. That then falls through, and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. And then I realized how Lynch and Shanahan do business. And they've done this with the big dogs, with Kittle. They're going to do it with Purdy soon. They did it with Debo. They did it with CMC. They bring their boys back, and we need to continue making these runs. I know we haven't gotten over the hump yet, but we're the next closest besides the Chiefs right now. And it's important we keep it going. So Brandon Ayuk last year, he had a career high 1,300 yards, still just about 7 touchdowns. He was wide receiver 12 in PPR. We know Debo and Kittle and CMC are going to get their work too, but Brandon Ayuk is really developing into a number one in this system, and he did miss a game. So I think he could have gone over 1,500 yards and maybe even 10 touchdowns. So really stoked to have him back as a fan. And in fantasy football, I bumped him back up from 23 to 18. Right now, he'll probably be a little higher than that, but I got guys like Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle. I got Mike Evans right above him. I got Nico Collins and Amari Cooper right above him too. So I'm kind of washing all that out as we just got news about an hour ago when we started the show. But as a fan, I'm really stoked. For fantasy, I still lean Debo actually over Ayuk right now.
Yeah, I do as well. I've had a choice between Debo and Ayuk in a couple drafts in this last few days, and I've kind of leaned a little bit towards Debo now. I'd had some Ayuk early in the season, so kind of mixing it up a little bit. What about you, Jefferson? What do you think?
Well, it's a good thing for the Niners. I think one of the biggest beneficiaries is going to be Brock Purdy, actually. He's going to get all his weapons back. They're all healthy coming into the season. So I know he's going like at QB 10 or 11. I think he can still be like a sleeper quarterback and surprise people where he's being drafted at.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think the folks in the Steel City, though, might be a little disappointed. But, hey, it's at least it's done, right?
And it's lengthy too. We don't have the financials yet. All we know, at least all that I know right now, is that it's 4 years, which actually bakes him in for a 5th year right now. So that's long term with wide receivers. We don't have the money yet. He's not going to make CD money yet. Jefferson and Chase and all those guys, but he'll be in that lower tier. He'll probably be like 12th highest paid wide receiver, something like that. Jalen Waddle is like the 8th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Devontae Adams is still in the top 10. So we'll see if Ayuk cracks that, but nonetheless, he's in San Francisco for 4 more years.
The initial report I saw was the extension was 4-year, 120.
Oh, 120. Okay.
With 76 guaranteed. Haven't confirmed that, but that's what I saw.
I could personally live on that. I could live on a little bit less than that.
In California?
Oregon. I'm in Oregon, dude. It's
you're in Oregon, right? But him in California.
Oh, yeah. No. We don't do tax up here, so it's different.
Yeah. So, all right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get back to the Rumble. We've met our contenders. Now let's get this thing started. Remember, you guys are limited to 2 minutes. There are no filibusters in this final round. I reserve the right to mute your mic if needed. Just beware. I told you, I'm the executioner. I'm not just the moderator. I'm the executioner. So with that said, in the words of a true ring legend, Nils Lane, let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
Round 1. First round, we're going to see our challenges to beat Kyren Williams, again, who is maybe slipping down draft boards a little bit, with the news this week that he's going to be returning punts. A lot of people are thinking maybe Corum is going to take a bigger piece of the pie. So, let's see what our boys have to say about this. Challenger, you get the first word in round 1. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. And your time starts now.
So all the news about Kyren Williams, I'm still excited about him. Even if he does get punt returns, what that tells me is that Sean McVay just wants to get the ball to his best playmaker one way or another. So maybe he sees 2 punts a game, 1 punt he actually takes it back. It's not going to really hurt his long-term value. Ultimately, Kyren is still the workhorse running back. I think people are worried about he was a rookie last season. Is he a 1-year wonder? They spent a 3rd-round pick on Corum, but he was really great last year. You can't take that away from him. And so he's still going to see all the high-value touches in this offense, meaning goal line and pass catching. Corum was not a pass catcher at Michigan at all, so I'm not concerned about that. Last season, Kyren had nearly 22 touches a game. That led the NFL. So say he loses, say 5 touches, maybe 6 touches a game out of this. He would still rank amongst the top 10, top 12 running backs around 18 to 17 touches a game. So I have no doubt that Sean McVay is going to continue to give him enough volume to keep him in the RB10 mix throughout the whole entire season. I think a lot of Corum's value is going to be based significantly if Kyren misses time. And I view him more as a handcuff heading into the season, even despite the punt return news from him. So I currently still have Kyren in my top 10 as RB8. And I think you should still take him around the 2nd round.
All right. Now it's up to you, champ. You heard what he had to say. You ready for a counterpunch?
Sure am.
All right. Your time starts now.
I'm going to take 5 seconds of my time to shout out Mills Lane. Are you old enough to remember Celebrity Deathmatch on MTV? Yeah. Let's get it on. You got to have that voice too. Anyway, shout out to our boys, Mills Lane. Big fan of the show, I believe, as well. All right. Game time. Jeff, all valid points and absolutely correct. The one that stands out that makes me the most nervous is the 22 touches a game. I love that if you're Derrick Henry. Kyren Williams is like half the size of Derrick Henry. And now he's got Matt Stafford healthy for now. He's got Puka healthy for now. He's got Cooper Kupp back and healthy at all. And we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years with these running backs, shout out and pour one out for our boy Todd Gurley, CJ Anderson, Cam Akers, the list goes on. They generally don't hold up. Kyren Williams did miss 5 games last year. Now, he did a lot of damage in 12 games. I love that. 15 touchdowns, though. I just don't see him coming close. Maybe he gets 12, maybe he gets 15 over like 16, 17 games. I'd love to see that. But I go off of efficiency, and I'm less concerned about like the player producing for my fantasy team. It always comes down to draft capital. I've got him at 15 right now. So I'm concerned, like I'm not going to draft him at all. He'll be way gone by the time I would draft him. So I'm just not going to have him. You're going to pick him as a top 10 running back, which is going to be like middle second round. I'm just not going to do that. It's risky for me. Blake Corum, I do think is going to have an impact, right? He has a Michigan record, 56 touchdowns in his career, which is insane. The amount of running backs that they've had at Michigan. He comes in, I know third round isn't shaking the leaves anymore in NFL, but he comes in right away. He's done great. He's looked good. And I am a little bit concerned about this punt return thing. I understand it's not like the deal breaker per se, but the fact that they even put him back there is mind blowing to me. Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, Christian McCaffrey, these are certain guys who are absolute studs that were punt returners to start their career, and they were just fine. But the list of guys that went back there to catch a punt and got hurt on a punt instead and derailed them is much more significant. And I'm really nervous about that, to be perfectly honest with you. So with the passing attack reloaded with the Rams, I think they're going to throw more in the red zone with Stafford and Kupp and Puka Nacua, and Kyren Williams isn't a secret anymore. He kind of took the league by storm last year. So a lot of damage in a short amount of time. He won a lot of people championships. I don't see it. I don't like the ADP. I'm out on Kyren Williams.
All right. Ding, ding, ding. I was just about to mute you, Sky, but you got in.
You
got in below the bell.
You're not going to mute me, bro.
So, all right. That was a great round, gents, but, we're not done. And since this is a title bout, we're not going to do the scoring yet. We're going to jump right in to round 2. Second round, we're going to see our challengers debate Alvin Kamara down in the Bayou State. Champ gets the first word in the second round. Sky, your time starts now.
Man, AK-41, this is my boy. Probably my favorite running back in the NFL. Unfortunately, Nick Chubb's hurt right now, so he doesn't count. Also, big fan of Airheads. I am as well. Alvin Kamara, back to form last year in the passing game. That's what we've been nervous about the last 3 years. First 3 years, we know, 81 receptions exactly. Then 83 in 2020. 47, 57 the next 2 years, not going to cut it, right? Fell off a cliff basically in fantasy, but he was still top 17 and top 10 in those years. Last year, 75 catches, only 6 touchdowns. This is the reverse argument of Kyren Williams. Kamara has 14, 18, and 21 touchdowns over his career in 3 different seasons. I absolutely think he gets back to double digits. Not a problem at all. His ADP right now is about the 4th or 5th round. He's got the best value in running backs, in my personal opinion. Right now, I've got him at number 9. Nobody's got him inside the top 10. I do, and I'm very confident about that. He missed 4 games last year, but he was still back up to a high yards per attempt. We know that Derek Carr is going to check down, check down, check down. Not many options out there outside of Chris Olave. Nobody in the backfield. They don't like Kendre Miller, unfortunately. So I'm not worried about any competition there. He's going to be about 500 receiving yards, about 800 rushing yards. Give me 1,500 total yards, 12 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara is as consistent as they get, and in full PPR, which is the only league to play, he's an automatic top 10 pick for me.
All right. You ready, challenger? You heard his word. You ready to counterpunch?
I'm born ready.
All right. Your time starts now.
So, yeah, Alvin Kamara is great for PPR. There's no doubt about that. What I'm concerned with is their O-line. They are the worst O-line in the NFL, according to PFF. And they might be the worst offense in their division, in my opinion, as well. Kamara's not getting any younger. He's getting closer to that age 30 season where running backs start to kind of wear down a little bit. And I want to say over his career, he's probably been top 5 in touches every season. And I just worry he's lost a little pep in his step. He averages about 800 rushing yards a season, which is not bad, which is good, but he hasn't had double-digit touchdowns in over 3 seasons, and I fear this is going to be the 4th one in a really, I think, a bad offense. A lot of his value is just relying on pass catching. He hasn't caught more than over 490 yards in 3 seasons, and I wonder if this is continuing of a trend. Yes, he did catch 75 passes last season, but he hadn't seen that kind of target share since Drew Brees was our quarterback in New Orleans in 2020. And so my concern is, what if he doesn't catch 75 passes and he gets closer to 40 or 50? What is his value really at? As a running back that only rushes for 800 yards and maybe gets 5 rushing touchdowns. To kind of put it all in perspective, 25 receivers caught 75 passes, and Brandon Ayuk, the man of the show today, he was one of them who caught exactly 75 passes. So I just don't see him catching 75 again in this offense. I know you say that Carr likes to dump it down, but I think Spencer Rattler is going to be their starting quarterback by midseason, and the offense is going to be quite different.
All right. Ding, ding, ding. End of round 2. Hold on, gentlemen. Hold on. Oh, I'm hearing the scoring is too close to call, so we're going to jump right in to round 3.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
All right, before we get to round 3, though, as we do in every show, the order of the final round will be based on your knowledge of sports, especially, of course, football. Since this is a title bout, you're going to have to dig deep for this one. I wore a special cap. Anyone want to take a guess what this cap is?
Is it football related? Can we get that?
It is.
Ooh, I'm going to go Little Giants.
That's a good one. It's orange. Is that orange or red?
It's orange.
Oh, it's orange.
It's
Ooh,
orange. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to change it. Yeah.
Is it an old Tampa Bay Bucks hat?
Well, it doesn't have not necessarily NFL.
I think I'm gonna go. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go 01 era Canes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Nice.
I was gonna give you the U too, but
01 Canes. That's what I'm going with. Best team ever.
Jefferson, you got a different choice?
No, I'm sticking with the Canes. That was
you're both wrong.
Oh damn. Arkansas, give me something. Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Who's gonna pick the orange? Literally an orange hat, and we don't go with the orange. Man,
Syracuse.
Jim Boeheim not happy right now.
That's right. He's not. So there's a couple running backs rolling around in the grave too. But
big up. Wait, hold on a second. Donovan McNabb.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay,
yep.
cool.
In fact, we're gonna go back to his era for this question. All right, you ready?
Let's do it. Yes.
You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
My answer's already work done, but go ahead.
Football legends Jim Brown, Ernie Banks, and Floyd Little were part of a group of players at Syracuse University to wear the storied 44 jersey. The number was officially retired in 2005, though. The final player to wear the number was also the first and only fullback in the history of the program to don that jersey. He was drafted by the Miami Dolphins in round 2, 1999 draft, joining the team for Dan Marino's final season, and then playing 5 more seasons before hanging him up for good in 2005. Who am I?
Only 5 seasons. I was going to go to Lorenzo Neal, but that's not enough.
Fullbacks.
I didn't even know Miami had a fullback.
True fullback.
Boy,
I'm stumped. Am I going to stump you in the finals?
This is a full stumper. Zach Thomas didn't play fullback.
No,
yeah, Zach Thomas, Red Raider.
Hold on a second, though. Oh God, I don't want to kill too much of the show going over this, but this is gonna bother me. Are there any more clues?
No more clues.
5 years for a fullback. 1999. He didn't play for anybody else?
Nope. Only this team. Give up to see. Do we have anyone in the chat with an answer? No, there's Jamie. Jamie,
hook it.
All right, Jamie.
Jamie, hook us up. You got something?
Who you got, Jamie? I feel like I'm gonna cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat. All right, I'll give you the answer. I have a tiebreaker here, so I'll give you the answer.
Okay.
Rob Conrad.
Oh my God. Solid name, and I do remember the player now, but man, I had no idea. I looked it up here. Alec Engold is the fullback right now.
Rob Conrad was the final one. All right, here's your tiebreaker. Besides Dan Marino, Rob Conrad played with 7 other quarterbacks during his career in Miami. Can you name one? and we'll go through
Chad
and
Pennington.
see how many you get. Wrong.
Chad Pennington. Oh, really?
Wrong.
Brock Osweiler.
What about
We're
you,
thinking
Jefferson?
early 2000s here.
Early
I know.
2000s.
Ugh.
Miami Dolphins, early 2000s. Am I going to stump you both? This is the finals, guys.
Joey Harrington.
The Dolphins.
Wrong.
The Dolphins haven't been worth anything after Marino until like 2 years ago.
You're right. With some of these names, you're going to kick yourself. All right, let me get you started. Jay Fiedler.
Good Lord.
Damon Heward.
Yeah, I mean, these are horrible. Nobody even knows who these players are. Keep going.
Brian Greasy.
Greasy.
Brian Greasy was still even playing then?
Brian Greasy. AJ Feely.
Nice.
Sage Rosenfeld.
Yeah, literally wouldn't have picked
And here is the creme. Gus Farrat.
Gus Farrat. Hey, shout out Gus Farrat.
Well,
He had a decent run with Washington and Oakland, I believe, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right, I'm disappointed in you guys.
Yeah, those are horrendous.
I think I told you this is a tough one. I gave you a tough one. These are the
if we-
finals.
If we both lose a point, I guess we're still tied. So
Yeah, we're both. You both lost a point. So
That
all
was
right,
terrible.
let's jump right into round 3. We're gonna let the challenger go first. He's earned the right. He's faced 2 of these bouts before. We'll give him first dibs round 3.
Good luck, kid.
All right.
Appreciate
Speaking of the Miami Dolphins, Raheem Mostert is he the starter? Is he the backup?
Oh,
What we do know, he is a touchdown machine in South Beach. Jefferson, Raheem Mostert is your player. Your time starts now.
I do like Raheem Mostert, and he is the starter, in my opinion, in Miami. Now, I have him as my running back 26 in my ranking. So not that I dislike him, I just don't like him a lot, but he's still sharing the backfield with Devon Achane, who I'm not terribly high on. But looking at Mostert, I do have some concerns. I know he'll probably get the majority of the workload, but his touchdown production, I think, might be fluky. It was potentially an anomaly. According to our TD Rush model, he should have had 4 less touchdowns, closer to 14, which is still a lot and still would have been a career high. It's really hard to predict touchdowns from one season to the next, and a lot of his value is just with touchdown equity, which I don't think he's going to have it again. Because if you look back just the year prior, he had 3 touchdowns rushing with only 28 less touches out of the backfield. So I'm just worried his value is too tied to his touchdowns, and if he doesn't put up those touchdowns, I think he's outside the top 20, and I think there's other value you can find than Raheem Mostert in the mid-20s.
All right, champ. You heard what he had to say. What do you got?
Y'all know I'm a Raheem Mostert. I've been a fan with Jeff Wilson with these guys before anybody thought it was cool. I love that. Shout out to my old Niners. He's been in the league since 2015. He'll be 32 this year. We don't like those kind of numbers with running backs. But folks, if you look at his numbers, he has 4 seasons where he had like adequate rushing yards. He had adequate work at all due to injuries and moving around and bouncing around the league, whatever, with multiple teams. So the tread is still on the tires, which I love to see. A lot of Devon Achane shout outs, of course, because the kid came on the scene and blew up the league last year in 10 games. But Raheem Mostert was also running back 5. He would have been running back 2 if he played the final 2 games of the season. He had career highs across the board. He stayed healthy finally. In that offense, he's electric. He's still literally one of the fastest, if not the fastest running back, like miles per hour rushing in the NFL. He can turn it around the outside and up the gut. Also, again, ADP. Last year, if you drafted Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, among other running backs as your RB1, RB2, those guys all either were done for the season quickly or they were not as great as you want them to be in your team. You took a flyer on Mostert in the 8th or 9th round. He saved your season and probably took you to the championship if didn't win it. He's doing it again this year. He's free. If he was a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, I wouldn't be as stoked. He's not. He's an 8th round pick. He's an RB3 or 4, which is insane. No chance I'm taking Achane as a top 10 running back. Raheem Mostert is a 21 for me. I got him as a middle RB2. He's got RB1 upside every single week. He could be a league winner. I'm absolutely sticking with my dog, Raheem Mostert.
All right, ding, ding, ding. Jeff, for clarification for the judges, Jeff, you said you had Mostert as your running back 1 in Miami, but he is 80. You had him at 23. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, 26. Yeah, I mean he's the starter in
And
Miami.
where do you have Achan?
At 12, outside the top 10.
All right.
But I'm out on Achan as well, though. So
I've got Achan at 14, just for conversation speak.
Excellent. All right. Well, gentlemen, that does it for the Rumble. I need to confer with the judges here, so I am going to go off backstage, give you guys a chance to chat about something here for a few minutes. I will be back shortly.
Yeah, no problem. So, Jeff, I'm trying to think of any Miami Dolphin in the last 15 years before Mike McDaniel got there, and I got Zach Thomas. I really like Jason Taylor. Dude was an animal. That defense was kind of nice. Yeah. I mean, Reggie Bush had like a cup of coffee over there. Ricky Williams, obviously.
I had him in fantasy that year. That was
they didn't play with wide receivers though after Dan Marino retired, so I don't remember any of them. But man, give me your top 3 early 2000s ish, just roughly. You don't need to worry about their career years, but early 2000s. Give me your top 3 running backs of that era.
In that era, early 2000s. When Ricky Williams was there, because he's from Texas, he had a short career though, but he was just a stud though. Just
incredible.
Took me to one of my early fantasy championships as a young kid in probably middle school, probably at that time. I was playing back in the day. So he's got to be up there. LT. Danny Tomlinson, obviously another
legend.
Texas kid.
Fantasy goat.
And then, the Chiefs back then too. I know Priest Holmes, San Antonio kid, so I respect him. But they're all Texas guys. Maybe I'm biased, but all those guys were just, for fantasy. I remember those guys just standing out. And then another name that you may or may not like was Charlie Gardner. I was a huge fan of him back in Oakland.
Bro, in Oakland, he's a Niner. I get it though.
I know, but that time
I was fine until you said that, but I'm good. We're gonna let it go. Let me throw mine on, and Derek can come back here. You mentioned like the Texas kid and then the Chiefs, bro. You got to give a shout out to Jamal Charles. Insane. Yeah. Larry Johnson was bad for them too for a couple years, dude. They were sick. The Chiefs running backs there, and then Spencer Ware. Pour one out for him too. He had a couple nice years. Mike Allstott and Warwick Dunn. That tandem was my favorite as a kid. Garrison Hurst broke his ankle on national TV against the Jets, unfortunately, but he was one of my favorites as a kid. And then you got to start that list. Early 2000s favorite running backs. It's got to be, I mean, if you don't count Barry Sanders, it's got to be Marshall Faulk. Just changed the game back then. And those, greatest show on turf teams with the Rams, absolutely fire. I hated it as a Niner because we're division rivals or whatever, but God, he was so fun.
Yeah. One other one I want to throw out there was Fred Taylor. He was an underrated player, in my opinion. I'm a Jags fan. So I have his black jersey that I still wear on Sundays, but
I got a green. I got like that pewter green or whatever that color. Mark Brunell. I got to give a shout out to the lefty quarterbacks. There's not many of us.
Nope.
Oh, nice. Jamie, first pick ever in fantasy. Mine was Michael Turner of the then Atlanta Falcons.
Turner.
Yeah. Another good early 2000s
Sean Alexander.
Oh, yeah.
Another good running back.
There's so many.
Dude, what a cool era, dude. That's back when the running backs got like 32 carries a game. Adrian Peterson, dude. I mean, there's so many guys. Oh, man. That could be an episode itself, just memory lane game. Love it.
All right, gents. I've got the scorecards back from the judges, and we have a majority decision.
A majority? Yeah, before you do that, Derek, I just want to say that your facial hair, like how you shaved recently, I just think it looks really good on you.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
But I already have the scorecards, so.
Oh, sorry. All
right. Judge 1 has the bout 28-28.
Ooh, that's a tie.
Judge 2 has 29-28, and Judge 3 has 29-28. For a majority decision, and still our Razzball Rumble champion, Sky. The floor is yours.
Let's go.
Good stuff, guys. That was a lot of fun. I know. I think I heard from one of the judges that the Dolphins discussion at the very end was the deciding factor.
Just bringing it back. You got to know your audience. That's what I said this when I was hosting. I was like, when you're the host, we got November around the corner, folks. You need to know how politics work. All right. When you're in charge, you rig the system. That's how it goes. I was able to do that in the hot seat. Now Derek's in the hot seat. I know that. He brought up the Dolphins because of Raheem Mostert, right? He brings up the OG Dolphins. I love that. Man, got to bring up a couple of another Dolphin I really liked back in the day. He's known as a Jet, I think, maybe a Bear, but Brian Cox was nice too. He had that square neck roll, neck pad anyway. But Jeff, hey, hell of a run, my man. And, you're a great competitor. Of course, I tip my cap to you. Nothing but love and respect. And it's all good sportsmanship here on Razzball. And Derek, heck of a job, my man. Way to get that done. Way to be in there. Mills Lane would be very proud. And you did a heck of a job.
It took a lot for me coming back here tonight after getting knocked out.
That's what I mean.
First bout. So
it just shows guts, good sportsmanship. I honestly, look, this maybe should be off record. I don't see Styles here. I mean, it's the least he could have done, which maybe show up, sit ringside, maybe pat us down, offer a Gatorade or something, maybe like a protein bar halfway through the bout. But, Matt's got better things to do, I guess, now that he's out of the running, which I don't really love that necessarily with competitive nature. But Derek, I appreciate you returning here for us.
You bet. So this was a lot of fun, guys. Of course, this time next week we'll be watching NFL football. So,
my goodness,
what a great time to end the Rumble. I got a couple more drafts. What about you guys?
Yep.
I've
got we got a draft next week.
Yeah, I got Guillotine League, which is super fun. I'm gonna give a shout out to Guillotine unprompted right now. If you guys don't play Guillotine formatting yet, if you've never done it before, it's very risky. I wouldn't put a ton of money on it until you know what you're doing, but it is super fun. And it's there's also a Vampire League, which is kind of same, but a little bit different. Guillotine, basically though, you have 18 teams. You have one more than per weeks of the season. Literally every single week, the lowest scoring team is eliminated from the league. They're kicked out. So week 1, somebody's going to be kicked out. Week 2, blah, 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 all the way to the end. The fun part, though, is that team, their roster goes into the waiver wire. So all of their team free agency. So CMC, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill on one team. They all have a bad week 1. That team loses, has the lowest score. All those guys dump into the free agency. Now we're working on fab. By the time you get to the end of the season, every roster is insane. So you have guys like, I don't know, Cooper Kupp, Kyren Williams, Rashad White, whatever, on the waivers because they're not making a squad based on matchups. So Guillotine is super fun. I also have my 2 different home leagues, 2 different groups of bros that I've been working with for 15, 20 years. I got those coming up. Everything's on Labor Day for me. So I've got like an 8-hour chunk of just like every year it's Labor Day, which is super fun, but really, really excited to get some drafts in.
Yeah. Right down to the wire. What about you, Jefferson?
Yeah, I got 3 more, all at Labor Day. I love drafting at the end of the preseason, just making sure no one gets screwed with injuries because nothing's worse than that. I do want to try this Guillotine though. That one sounds like fun. I haven't done that before, so
it is a lot of fun. Yeah, I did it for the first time last year, and it was by far the most fun I've had. And
you had a hell of a run too.
I won it.
Yeah,
I won it. Yeah, I won it. I tell you, if I could pull up that roster that I had for the final week and the players I had to cut to make that roster, it was insane. It was insane.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
What site, I guess, provides a
We're on Sleeper.
Sleeper. Yeah. And the thing about this is different. In ours is 18 teams. So you're drafting 18 team league in a draft. Talk about, 14 teams is a larger player pool and hard. Add 4 more teams to that. Every team has holes going into week 1. So it really levels the playing field and how you do it and what your strategy is. So it's a lot different strategy than a normal, either the best ball or a redraft league but it's a lot of fun. So
I'm assuming single quarterback, 2-3 receiver league.
Ours is a super flex actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, check this out. You were Jamarvelous, is that correct?
Yes.
And you won the championship. Listen to this roster, ladies and gentlemen. Derek wins the championship. Here's his roster. Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyren Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Sam Laporta, Brock Purdy, and the Superflex. On the bench, didn't impress the coaches enough this week to even start in the championship. Josh Allen, Bijan Robinson, who went for 30 on the bench. AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson on the bench went for 40, and Brandon Ayuk. So that's what the rosters look like.
I cut Jamar Chase that week, and I cut someone else too that week to put that lineup together,
dude.
And I still won.
Yep.
You know, with what 80 points on the bench, and I still won.
Yeah, we finally recruited Styles this year too, so he's in. So Jeff will get you in next year, man. It's a lot of fun.
Sweet.
And Guillotine's just a fun one. Vampire is more about like you beat your opponent, you take one of their players from their team, which is really cool too. So that's a really fun one. But it's been a blast, folks. We appreciate it. Derek, hell of a job, my man. I'm going to give you a golf clap as well.
Right,
nice job. Jeff, likewise, man. Let's do more of these rumbles. They're super duper fun. We'll have to get Boss over here too. He's kind of like Goro at the top of the Mortal Kombat link. You know what I mean? Or, M. Bison, remember in Street Fighter, you get all the way to the end for those guys too. So we'll see if we can get the Boss on next time as well. Derek's right. We got football around the corner, folks. College football starts this weekend, NFL in 2 weeks. Stick with us. We got all the information for you the rest of the season. All information can be found on X at Razzball NFL, Razzball NFL. Subscribe right here to the YouTube channel. The most fun we have all season, folks. It's really good prepping all these shows and having a good time. You're welcome, Jamie. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. We have the quad box coming up. We have the Sunday live start sit show. We have so many of our analysts coming in for that. I'm actually going to miss the first one. Every year I'm in Montana playing a music festival on that weekend, and I miss it. It's weird, but I'll be back for the rest of them. But we got 2 hours before kickoff. So no matter where you're at in the country, Hawaii, New York, wherever it is, 2 hours before kickoff, we're right here live doing all your start sit questions. We get hundreds, literally, folks. We get to every single one of them every single time. You get all of our analysts. We get trade questions. Make sure, please, please, please give us your league settings, half PPR, tight end premium, super flex, anything that helps us speed things up. It's really important. So make sure to check that out. All of our episodes are repurposed again, right on the podcast, wherever you listen to your audio as well, the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. And of course, all of our incredible tools exclusive to Razzball to help you get over the hump and beat your opponents, your coworkers, your family members, your homies, whatever it is. It's draft season right now and next week. All those tools available at football.razzball.com, and all of our great articles, us three and everybody else on the program, writing articles for you all summer long and all season long for free at football.razzball.com. Derek, a hell of a job. Jeff, hell of a competitor. That's Derek _Favret, Jefferson _21. I'm your host, Sky Guasco. It's always a pleasure, never a chore, folks. We appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other. Enjoy and gear up for some NFL. We'll catch you next time right here on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. We are out of here.